Well, hello, welcome to my channel to anyone who is new, and welcome back to returning subscribers. Here is a short update video to my last video I made 6 months ago about Project Stamina. I know I'm a bit late, but there are 2 good reasons why I didn't make this video sooner. Firstly, I was at the beginning of my sophomore year of college. After I produced that video last summer, I had little time to work on another. Sure, I could have released this in November, but I took the short days of grace on the weekends from the barrage of essays to write a few scripts and squeeze out a season-specific video. That tacky Halloween video some of you watched. Secondly, I expected that gigantic video to get one burst of views and then sink deep into the murky YouTube algorithm. Though since that didn't happen and I'm still getting a lot of eyes on that video, I feel irresponsible leaving that video up without fresher information, especially with how melodramatic that whole video was, in addition to the cliffhanger at the end. So anyways, I don't want to talk too much about me. Let's get to the update. So I've been lurking in the Project Stamina Discord for a while, and sometime in November, I saw an update in the Project Stamina chat which basically summarizes all the info we have to this date. Though it's a summary, it is quite long, so if you didn't feel like reading it, don't worry, because I'll just read it aloud now. Hello friends, we know we promised a September update. Jake had to attend to a prolonged family emergency, and we weren't able to have this drafted and reviewed in the time frame we planned for. Family and personal matters have always been the highest priority for Project Stamina, so we thank you for your patience and understanding. Agreed, it's always good for creatives to put personal matters first. I know it's always best to be in the best state of mind before working, because if you're tense, it will negatively affect the quality of the work. There have been a lot of questions, and we can't answer them all in one statement, so we're going to tackle the most pressing matters now. Project Stamina development. After much deliberation, work on Project Stamina is resuming. We are taking the remaining Patreon funds and contracting a dev for hire studio to take lead on bringing Project Stamina online. Amazon has discontinued the services we were using to host these playtests, so our first order of business with our new contractors will be to bring playtesting back online. While reformatting our backend to engage with other Amazon services is an option, we are taking the opportunity to attempt to switch over to Epic Online services instead. EOS is well positioned to enable platform crossplay and offers more favorable terms for a small studio like us. It's very good that they're taking this into consideration. I'm sure we all remember how callously Microsoft treated the small team of Gigantic. After we have our service back online, we will put the remainder of our contract budgets towards bringing core game systems and our original cast of 6 characters online. We do not know how much it will cost to bring servers online for testing, but we know without a playable game, nothing else matters. When the goal is accomplished, we will be able to give estimates on what gameplay development will be possible on the other side. Date of LLC and Fancy's involvement. As some of you have observed, founder and producer Mr. Fancy Pants is still listed as a registered agent of the Project Stamina LLC. This is a point of concern for some community members, and we would like to address the questions that this may raise. In July of last year, Fancy proposed an equally split ownership model of the company and project, and we've begun working to shift to this ownership model. In September, he offered to instead give complete ownership of the company to us, and to unconditionally abdicate? What the hell does that mean?
Abdicate.
Abdicate, okay. And to unconditionally abdicate any responsibilities or claims over Project Stamina. The paperwork for both of these possible transfers have been prepared, and Fancy has cooperated with all our requests surrounding Project Stamina. We have chosen to postpone the project and to keep Fancy as proprietor of Project Stamina. I found the statement about the risk of making the structural changes kind of interesting. Although this is somewhat irrelevant, it made me wonder if it's true that transitioning from a traditional management structure, which Project Stamina is keeping for now, into a non-traditional, equally split one would make investors weary. I found an article titled Falling Flat: Why Startups Need Hierarchal Structure, which gave me some insight. I'll be sure to link the source in the description for the nerds. A quote from Seiron Lee from the article states, "What many of them, companies, realize over time is that no matter how good the business idea is, or how brilliant the team is, management can ultimately kill the business. Lee said. Unfortunately, there are many cases where startups fail simply due to the lack of a management structure. Lee found the most successful businesses that began with a flat structure usually started creating levels of management when they reached about 20 or 30 employees. At that size, good managers step in to keep order and prevent the company from descending into chaos. Without supervision, employees may lose direction, drift into endless exploration, create projects that they aren't able to accomplish, and fight with each other. In the study, Lee found that a trade-off between two desired outcomes can be mitigated by adopting the right organizational structure. That's why it is important for founders to consider what kind of hierarchy will work best and when to implement it. To summarize, Lee basically states that although in the fledgling stages of a company, a non-traditional, non-management style hierarchy is effective, it doesn't seem to be too effective as the company ages, given the research he presents. Taken at face value, I can understand why investors may be apprehensive of a young game company with an equally split hierarchical model. Though this article gave me some good information, I don't find this answer to be satisfactory. Although I've answered the question of why investors may be weary of non-traditional startups, I'm still curious of whether a company should be cautious to implement a non-traditional structure as they age. I mean, there must be a way to have a business that is creative-friendly and limits the negative effects that freedom brings. I found another article titled How to Successfully Scale a Flat Business, which coincidentally happens to use, along with other businesses, video game companies as examples. Those companies, Supercell and FuturePlay, successfully implemented a self-directed company using 6 strategies. The first listed being decentralizing the organization. Like Lee said, larger groups create a need for management, but by decentralizing the group, we avoid this. And the second strategy is found on the website so you can read it on your own, because I think I've carried this tangent on a bit too long. I'll just conclude by saying this. I just hope this project definitely pursues the equally split model in the future and maintains it as the team grows. We got rid of the melodrama and kept the tangents. Expect nothing less from this channel. Anyways, let's carry on with the Project Stamina update. As some of you may know, making a video game is a complex and difficult task, and Project Stamina is a particularly complex one. Fancy has made significant contributions to the game and the organization, and has over a decade of experience and connections in the industry. He was the one who founded and vetted us, a contract developer, and he is the person on the team who can connect us with investors and publishers. In our opinion, while we disagree with some of the choices that he has made as the leader of this project, he has done more good than harm for Project Stamina. Having him as our point of contact and primary negotiator for potential publishing opportunities puts Project Stamina in a stronger position than a split ownership model would provide. At this time, structural changes to the organization only destabilize conversations with vendors and potential publishers. We recognize that these opportunities for Project Stamina have developed entirely thanks to Fancy's efforts, connections, and experience in the industry. We have unanimously agreed that our current format gives the game the best chance of its continued growth. To reiterate, Fancy offered to give us the game and company without any request for compensation. We considered this option and thought that it was best for the game to continue working with Fancy and postpone the discussion of ownership. Let's skip ahead to new recruiting and recruiting devs. The section before it is just about the Discord. New recruiting and returning devs. With our current focus being on maximizing the returns on our contract with our new developers, we are not planning on opening recruitment at this time. It takes time to onboard and train people, and we don't have the hours in the day to take that on right now. The question of devs who left wanting to return will be handled on a case-by-case basis. So far, nobody has asked to return to the project, but Project Stamina has always had an open-door policy for people who have contributed to the effort to step back and return when they have the time and energy. One of the missions of Project Stamina is to build a bridge for people into the game industry. We have been successful in that effort in the past, and we hope to be able to create an environment that helps propel people into their careers again in the future. What's next for Project Stamina? Well, hopefully the contract developer will be able to wrangle our system and get the game online in short order. They have begun onboarding onto Project Stamina's code base earlier this month, and are currently working to update some critical architecture to allow multiplayer hosting to begin. Once the game is online, we would like to begin playtesting. His goal is not to demonstrate a polished, balanced game, but to give the community an honest look into the difficult process that is game development. It takes a lot to make a game, and we want to share it with you. When playtesting is online again, we will start looking at code systems, and consider restarting the Patreon to help fund development. Once the remaining Patreon committed to bringing the game online are gone, we expect we will spend out of pocket to continue the development of the game. We hope that giving you something that you can play, rough as it may be, will renew your faith in us enough to help us offset those costs. From there, it's really a question of what paths are available to us. We do not have the luxury of planning too many steps in advance right now, so we're keeping our focus on the short term. Get the game back online, figure out what we can do from there. Our hope is that we can reach our original targets of 2 arc completed characters per faction, 1 additional arc completed map with a fully playable base game mode, and lastly, online playability. If we can reach this level of project completion, then we will have a much stronger basis on which to expand production and build future content. In the scenario where a game cannot be brought back online, we are considering open sourcing the entire code base. This was on the table immediately after the Discord servers was shut down. However, open sourcing this game means that it will not be eligible for console release, as major game publishers do not license open source code bases to be published on their platform. A major segment of our community are console-only gamers, and we are giving our best efforts to meet their needs before we throw in the towel. One final point of note: we are very grateful to anyone who stuck around through this difficult year and offered their continued enthusiasm, support, and server emote spam in solidarity with our team. We have enjoyed sharing our progress with you as it happens, and giving you an uncommonly close look into the early stages of the game development process, where there will always be a few trade secrets kept in-house. We hope this culture of community and transparency continues as development slowly ramps up. This has been a difficult time, and we would like to ask everyone here to afford us and each other some grace. Everyone who has contributed to Project Stamina, both devs and community members, have done so out of a genuine belief that this game has potential to be great, and that this unique development model has the potential to succeed. This has been a work of passion by dedicated, creative people who gave their time, skill, and energy to a monumental task. Rather than dwelling on the difficulties that brought us to this point, we would like to take a moment to recognize the unsung heroes of the Project Stamina team. It is entirely thanks to AMVE, our systems administrators, that work on Project Stamina has been able to resume. When we recovered the repo last year, we discovered that it was completely inoperable. Whether deliberately or through poor practices, a critical error was left behind that effectively halted the entire development process. AMEV has not only resolved that issue and recovered the game's codebase, they have also re-archived the entire version control system to make ongoing work more efficient for preventing these kinds of issues from ever happening again. This will be slow going, but generating the first bit of motion out of a standstill is always the hardest step in any process. We will keep you in the loop as we're able, and we hope that it won't be quite as long until the next update. Signed, the Project Stamina team. So yeah, things are looking bright. I can't wait to finally get my hands on the game when it releases. This will probably be my last update unless something really big happens, so keep an eye on the Discord. Or if you hate reading like I do, and if you're willing to wait a few months to hear about the game again, I'll be here. So while you wait, you can subscribe and hit the bell to see my other content. I know I've said this in past videos, but I really do have stuff on the way. If you like this style of video, I'm sure you'll like them too. Anyways, I won't hold you here too much longer.